Hi there and welcome. Today, with some brilliant help from the experts over at my tax accountant, we're getting into something that literally affects every single person who gets a payslip in the UK, your tax code. We're going to break down what it is and, most importantly, show you exactly how to get your hands on the official notice that explains it all.
So, let's just kick things off with a big and maybe slightly uncomfortable question. Are you 100% certain that you're paying the right amount of tax? Because if you're not, well, you're definitely not alone, not by a long shot.
Just look at this number, £3.3 billion. That is the absolutely staggering amount that HMRC thinks was overpaid in income tax in just the last tax year. Now, how does this even happen? Well, a lot of the time, it's just because automated systems don't quite keep up with our lives changing, or people just don't check the codes they're given. It's a huge amount of money, and some of it could be yours, just sitting in HMRC's bank account instead of yours.
But don't you worry. We've worked with the team at My Tax Accountant to put together this guide to help you get back in control. We're going to walk you through, step by step, how to check what's going on and take charge of your finances.
All right, so first things first, we need to demystify that little string of numbers and letters that shows up on your payslip. I know it can look like just a bunch of jargon, but trust me, it's the key to everything.
So what is it really? The easiest way to think about it is like a set of instructions from HMRC directly to your employer's payroll department. It's a short code that tells them exactly how much tax they need to take off your salary. And if that instruction is off, well, the amount of tax you pay will be off too. It really is that simple.
Okay, so for the 2025 to 2026 tax year, the code you're going to see all over the place is 1257L. If you've got one job and your finances are pretty straightforward, there's a very good chance this is your code. So let's pull it apart and see what it means.
Now, those numbers, 1257, they might seem a bit random, right? But there's a super simple trick to it. Just stick a 0 on the end. So, 1257 actually means you can earn £12,570 this year, completely tax-free. That's your standard personal allowance for the year.
So what about that letter at the end? That L is the one most of us will have. It simply confirms that you're entitled to that standard personal allowance we just talked about. Seeing an L is generally a good sign that things are as they should be.
But what if your letter is an L? Well, this is where things get interesting. A BR code, for example, is a big one for people with a second job. It means all your earnings from that job are taxed at the basic rate, with no tax-free allowance. D0 is the same, but for the higher rate. M and N are all about the marriage allowance. And if you see a T, well, that's a sign that things are a bit more complicated, and you'll definitely want to look into that.
Right, so you know what the code means now. But, and this is a big but, just seeing the code on your payslip isn't enough. To really, really understand how HMRC got to that code, you need the official paperwork.
And this is why getting that notice is so crucial. The official tax code notice, you might also hear it called a P2 form, is the full breakdown from HMRC. It doesn't just show you the final code, it shows you the math. It lists your personal allowance, and then it shows any deductions they've made for things like a company car, or maybe adjustments from a previous tax year. It's the whole story.
And this is why it matters so much. If there's a mistake anywhere in that calculation, you're looking at one of two bad outcomes. You're either overpaying tax every single month, basically giving HMRC an interest-free loan with your money, or, and this is arguably worse, you could be underpaying, which feels fine until a nasty, unexpected bill from the taxman lands on your doormat.
Okay, so you're sold. You need this notice. How do you actually get it? Well, the good news is there are a few pretty easy ways.
Honestly, the quickest and easiest way is to just do it online. If you've got a government gateway account, the login you use for your self-assessment and all that, you can just sign in on the gov.uk website. From there, you just need to find the PAE or income tax bit, and you should see your current tax code and be able to download a full copy of the notice. And hey, here's a quick pro tip for you. If you'd rather do things on your phone, you should download the official HMRC app. It uses the exact same login details as the website, and you can get all the same info right there. It's super handy for a quick check-in.
Okay, so what if you can't get online, or you'd just rather talk to a real person? You can always give HMRC a call. Just a bit of advice to make it go smoother: have your national insurance number ready to go. And be prepared for a bit of a wait. Those phone lines get incredibly busy. When you do get through, just ask them to pop a paper copy of your tax code notice in the post. And please, always make a note of when you called and what you talked about.
That's not all.
Here's where most people go wrong. Getting the notice is a huge first step, a brilliant move. And this is where so many people fall down. You've actually got to read it and check if it's correct. Just listen to this. It's a real-life scenario that shows exactly why this is so important. This person changed jobs, their code wasn't updated properly, and bam, 6 months down the line, they were hit with a surprise tax bill they weren't expecting. It happens all the time, and it's so avoidable. So what are the big red flags you need to look out for? Well, pretty much any big life change. Let's take an example. Imagine David, a freelance graphic designer based in London. He just took on a part-time employed role to bring in some steady income. There's a good chance HMRC's systems haven't caught up yet, and he might have been put on the wrong tax code, causing him to overpay until he gets it sorted.
Okay, stay with me because this next part is absolutely crucial. You've got the notice, you've checked it, and you've spotted a mistake. What on earth do you do now?
I know, the thought of phoning HMRC can be a bit, but listen to what this taxpayer said. They got stuck in the automated phone system a couple of times, but they kept at it. And once they spoke to a real person, the problem was sorted out just like that. So don't give up.
The key here is don't wait. Get in touch with HMRC straight away, either online or on the phone. And don't just say, my code is wrong. You need to be specific. Say something like, my notice shows a deduction for a company car, but I gave that back 3 months ago. The clearer you are, the faster they can fix it for you. So, for simple mistakes, you can absolutely sort it out yourself. But what if it's not simple? If you've got a few different sources of income or company benefits or anything that complicates the picture, getting a professional to cast an eye over it can be a really smart move.
All right, and before we go any further, just a very important disclaimer. The information we've shared here today is for general guidance. It is not formal financial advice. For any decisions about your own specific financial situation, you should always speak with a qualified expert like the team at My Tax Accountant.
And that's exactly where our partners, My Tax Accountant, come in. If you found something that seems a bit tricky, or maybe you just want that peace of mind of having a professional check it for you, then the best thing you can do is reach out to their team of experts. So, here's how you can get in touch with them. The team there are absolute specialists in personal tax, and they can help you with your tax code or any other tax questions you might have. You can give them a call on 0208 570 8531, or just drop them an email at info@mytaxaccountant.co.uk.
You know, checking your tax code isn't just a one-and-done thing. It's really something you should get in the habit of doing every year, and definitely anytime your circumstances change. So, how can you make sure you stay on top of all this? Well, if you want to read through all of this again, there's a fantastic detailed guide on their blog. Just head to mytaxaccountant.co.uk. And for more super useful tax tips just like these, make sure you hit that subscribe button on the My Tax Accountant YouTube channel. Thanks so much for joining us.